Welcome back to our channel, where we delve into the most perplexing and heart-wrenching true crime stories. Today, we explore the tragic case of Nathan O'Brien, a 5-year-old boy who disappeared along with his grandparents. Join us as we uncover the chilling details of their disappearance and the shocking secret of the killer. This is the case of Nathan O'Brien. Nathan O'Brien was a joyful 5-year-old boy who loved spending time with his grandparents, Alvin and Kathryn Liknes, in Calgary, Alberta. Nathan was a bright and energetic child, always eager to explore and play. His grandparents, Alvin and Kathy, were loving and doting, cherishing every moment they spent with their beloved grandson. They often took Nathan on adventures, creating precious memories together. On June 29, 2014, Nathan was staying overnight at his grandparents' house while his parents, Rod and Jennifer O'Brien, attended a family gathering. It was supposed to be a typical summer evening filled with laughter and bedtime stories. However, the next morning, the family's world was turned upside down. When Jennifer arrived to pick up Nathan, she found the house eerily quiet. As she walked through the home, she discovered signs of a violent struggle and, most disturbingly, no trace of Nathan or her parents. The disappearance of Nathan O'Brien and his grandparents sparked an immediate and intense investigation. The Calgary Police Service quickly arrived at the Liknes home, treating it as a crime scene. Inside, they found evidence of a brutal attack, including bloodstains and signs of a struggle. It was clear that something horrific had taken place, but the whereabouts of Nathan and his grandparents remained a mystery. Investigators worked tirelessly, interviewing neighbors, searching the area, and following up on any leads. The community rallied together, distributing flyers and holding vigils, hoping for the safe return of Nathan and his grandparents. The sense of urgency was palpable, with everyone fearing the worst but hoping for a miracle. As days turned into weeks, the lack of progress took a toll on the family and the community. The police knew they were racing against time. They brought in additional resources, including search and rescue teams, forensic experts, and even drones to scan the surrounding areas. The media played a crucial role, keeping the public informed and engaged. News segments featured heart-wrenching interviews with Nathan's parents, pleading for any information that could lead to their loved one's safe return. The emotional impact of seeing Nathan's toys scattered in the house, alongside the clear signs of a struggle, resonated deeply with the public. As the investigation continued, the police held press conferences to update the public and plead for any information that could lead to the whereabouts of Nathan and his grandparents. They also released descriptions of Alvin and Kathryn Liknes and Nathan O'Brien, urging anyone with information to come forward. The search extended beyond Calgary, with law enforcement agencies across Canada on high alert. Then, a breakthrough came. A neighbor reported seeing a green truck in the area around the time of the disappearance. This lead pointed investigators to Douglas Garland, a man with a criminal past and a connection to the Liknes family. Garland's sister was in a relationship with Alvin Liknes' son, and Garland had a history of disputes with the Liknes family over a failed business venture. This connection raised suspicions, and the police turned their focus to Garland. The revelation of Garland's connection to the Liknes family brought a new dimension to the case. Investigators began to piece together the possible motives, focusing on the business deal that had gone sour. Alvin Liknes had developed a new technology for oil extraction, and Garland felt he had been wronged in the process. This perceived betrayal festered into a deep resentment, providing a potential motive for the crime. The police intensified their surveillance of Garland, hoping to find any slip or mistake that could lead them to Nathan and his grandparents. Douglas Garland quickly became the prime suspect in the disappearance of Nathan and his grandparents. Surveillance footage showed Garland's green truck near the Liknes home on the night of the disappearance. The police executed a search warrant at Garland's farm, uncovering a horrifying secret. They found evidence linking Garland to the crime, including items belonging to the Liknes family and traces of blood. The investigation revealed that Garland had meticulously planned and executed the abduction and murder of Nathan and his grandparents. The discovery of this evidence confirmed the worst fears of the O'Brien and Liknes families. The police now had the difficult task of piecing together what had happened that fateful night. The evidence pointed to a premeditated act of violence driven by Garland's deep-seated grudge against the Liknes family. The meticulous nature of the crime and Garland's attempts to cover his tracks painted a chilling picture of a calculated and cold-blooded killer. As investigators combed through Garland's property, they found more disturbing evidence. Burn pits containing bone fragments, tools stained with blood, and personal items belonging to the victims told a grim story. The forensic team worked painstakingly to analyze the evidence, ensuring every piece was meticulously documented and preserved. The police now faced the grim task of informing the families about their findings, preparing them for the worst while still hoping for some form of closure. Douglas Garland was arrested and charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. The trial began in January 2017, and it gripped the nation. The prosecution presented a compelling case, detailing the evidence that linked Garland to the murders. They described how Garland had planned the abduction and murder, driven by a long-standing grudge. The forensic evidence, including DNA and blood traces, was irrefutable. The prosecution painted a picture of a man consumed by rage and bitterness, capable of unimaginable cruelty. The defense, however, attempted to cast doubt on the evidence and suggested that Garland was being framed. They argued that there was no direct evidence linking Garland to the actual murders and that the investigation had overlooked other potential suspects. The defense's strategy was to create reasonable doubt in the minds of the jury. They questioned the reliability of the forensic evidence and highlighted inconsistencies in the prosecution's timeline of events. The trial was an emotional ordeal for the families involved, with graphic evidence and heartbreaking testimonies. Nathan's parents and the Liknes family members had to relive the pain of their loss as they listened to the details of the crime. The public watched closely, hoping for justice for Nathan and his grandparents. The media coverage was extensive, with daily updates on the proceedings and expert analyses of the legal strategies employed by both sides. Each day in court brought new revelations and emotional testimony. Friends and family members described Alvin and Kathryn Liknes as kind, generous people who were deeply loved by their community. Nathan was remembered as a vibrant and joyful child whose life had been brutally cut short. Forensic experts detailed the painstaking process of analyzing the evidence found on Garland's property, providing a stark contrast between the innocent lives lost and the cold, calculated nature of the crime. After weeks of testimony and deliberation, the jury found Douglas Garland guilty on all counts. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for 75 years. The verdict brought a sense of justice and closure to the families of Nathan and his grandparents, but it could never heal the deep wounds left by their tragic loss. The community that had supported the search and trial process felt a collective relief, knowing that the person responsible for such a heinous crime would never be free again. The public reaction to the verdict was one of overwhelming support for the families and satisfaction that justice had been served. Vigils were held in memory of Nathan and his grandparents, and the community continued to offer their support to the grieving families. The case also led to discussions about the importance of community vigilance and the need for improved safety measures to prevent such tragedies in the future. The aftermath of the trial saw an outpouring of support from the community. Memorials were set up in honor of Nathan, Alvin, and Kathy, with thousands of people leaving flowers, toys, and heartfelt messages. The families received messages of condolence from across the country as people shared in their grief and expressed their sorrow. The case remained a topic of national discussion, with many reflecting on the need for justice and the importance of remembering the victims. In the aftermath of the trial, the O'Brien and Liknes families have focused on honoring the memory of Nathan, Alvin, and Kathy. They have established memorials and foundations to support other families facing similar tragedies and to promote safety and awareness in their community. The legacy of Nathan O'Brien lives on through these efforts, ensuring that his bright spirit continues to make a positive impact. The families have also become advocates for victim support services and have worked to raise awareness about the impact of violent crime on families and communities. They have spoken at events and participated in initiatives aimed at providing resources and support for those affected by crime. Their resilience and dedication to helping others have been an inspiration to many. As part of their advocacy, the families have worked with law enforcement and community organizations to improve safety measures and support systems. They have shared their experiences to help others navigate the aftermath of violent crime, offering guidance and support. Their efforts have contributed to a stronger, more compassionate community, determined to prevent such tragedies and support those who have been affected. The story of Nathan O'Brien and his grandparents is a heartbreaking reminder of the fragility of life and the impact of violence on our communities. As we reflect on this case, let us remember Nathan, Alvin, and Kathy, and strive for a world where such tragedies are prevented. Thank you for joining us today. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more in-depth true crime stories and updates.